So let's go to the South Pacific now and the threat to islands that could be swallowed up by rising sea levels. In Fiji, 3 villages have been forced to relocate. 80 more are waiting to be moved. Well, here's the perspective of one activist on the impact of climate change in Oceania and also a question for the Secretary General.
My name is Fenton Lutunatabua and I'm from the Fiji Islands.
The Pacific Islands' contribution to greenhouse gas emission in the atmosphere is negligible, but they suffer disproportionately the effects of global warming. So in my lifetime alone, I've seen seas rise much faster than the global average, warming oceans, more intense weather events. For a lot of villages that have to relocate because of sea level rise, it is very traumatic. There's a lot of cultural loss. The sense of identity is at stake here. We keep pushing to tell the story that Pacific Islanders are not just mere victims of climate change. We're also innovative, driven, young people that are doing what we must to protect our island homes from runaway climate change.
I, alongside many other Pacific Islanders, have been speaking out and fighting against climate change for years. Unfortunately, we do not believe that enough progress has been made internationally. In your opinion, what will it take for high carbon emitting countries to take action and defund the fossil fuel industry?
So let's find out how the UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres answered Fenton's question. What will it take to defund the fossil fuel industry?
First of all, we need to stop fossil fuel subsidies. I've been asking for that since a long time ago, and governments are still spending taxpayers' money, our money, to subsidize fossil fuels that then contribute to destroy the planet. It doesn't make any sense that our money is used to destroy our own planet. And so the first measure is stop fossil fuel subsidies. The second measure that is essential is stop the construction of coal-based power plants and stop the financing of coal in the world. And I see that there is progress, but we still have many countries that are exporting coal power plants and financing them. And finally, it is important also to redirect finance into renewable energies.
The UN Secretary General there. So let's find out what Fenton thought of that answer. He joins us live now. Fenton Lutunatabua, thank you so much for joining us. You're the Director of Climate Activism 350 Pacific, joining us live from Pacific Harbour in Fiji. I'd swap places with you right now, I can tell you that. Are you satisfied with what Antonio Guterres has said?
Bulavanaka, and thank you so much for having me. I thought Mr. Guterres' response and overall call to action this morning is incredibly spot on. It is critical that high carbon emitting countries defund the fossil fuel industry, whether it be coal, oil, or gas. It's imperative that the health of people and the planet must always be prioritized, right? At the minute, we're faced with the dual crisis of COVID-19 and climate change. And as Mr. Guterres so rightfully said, fossil fuel subsidies, which form the most carbon emissions that impact people and planet, must be stopped.
But you heard the Secretary General talking about stopping fossil fuel subsidies, and yet you've got countries, particularly in Central and Eastern Europe, who continue to use it, who build new plants, coal mines, and yet your community faces the cost of that. Are you not frustrated that this is continuing to happen, yet we've known about this for so many years?
Absolutely. You know, it's no secret that the group of Pacific Islands are one of the most vulnerable nations to the climate crisis. Sea level rise, warmer oceans, intense weather events like cyclones and droughts are already lived realities for many of our people across the Pacific. What Mr. Guterres said this morning about governments spending taxpayers' money to destroy our planet really resonates with me and the work that we do as 350.org in the Pacific. In fact, right now, a network of young Pacific Islanders calling themselves the Pacific Climate Warriors are working with partners across the region to stop Indian power giant Adani from building a climate-wrecking coal mine called the Carmichael coal mine. This mine would be one of the biggest in the world. And right now, the State Bank of India is poised to execute an Australian $1 billion loan to Adani for this mine. If approved, the lifetime carbon emissions from this mine alone would be 20 times Australians' current annual emissions.
And you're pressurising the State Bank of India to not go ahead with it. Fenton, we're out of time, but thank you so much. 350.org is the website, and thank you for watching.